Now it's time for another Mangru one-on-one. Today joining us here from Las Vegas is the founder of Dohmen Capital Research, Bert Dohmen. Bert, one of the things that Americans are worrying about right now is whether we're going to see either a V-shaped recovery, like many of the CNBC and Wall Street pundits say we're going to have, or whether this is going to be, like George Soros says, Act 2 of the crisis that we're in right now.
Yes, not that I agree with George Soros most of the time, but this time he may be right. Yes, my view has been since last year that what we saw was just a bear market rally in the stock market and in the economy, which you normally have after a crash. We had a crash in 2008 and 2009. And after that, you do see a bear market rally. This is just natural. And the pattern so far is very much like in the early 1930s. And we had a bear market rally, and after that, the stock market went down tremendously until the Dow lost over 90%. In 2008, the S&P 500 index was down only 50%. Usually after the bursting of a big credit bubble, a major index doesn't stop going down until it's down about 80 to 90%. So that is still ahead of us.
Now, when you mentioned current policies coming out of Washington, there's obviously the financial reform bill, that's looking to be closer to reality in the lives of Americans. What exactly in the financial reform bill really spells doom for America?
Well, Dan, unfortunately, all of these bills don't do anything to address the topic or the name of the bill. Financial reform. There's nothing in that bill about financial reform. It's all about more power for the politicians. And the powers and the increased bureaucracy coming out of this FinReg bill is absolutely scary. They have the power to take any amount of money or all of your money out of your bank account without prior notice, no notification, no recourse when they do it, out of everyone's bank account. This is very much like Argentina. Remember a few years ago, Argentina ran out of money. They confiscated all the retirement accounts that people had at the banks. They just confiscated the accounts. So we're going down that path. It's incredible for us to imagine that this would be happening in the US. But the rights in this bill for the bureaucrats are exactly that. They can actually put you into the poorhouse at will any time of the day.
Now, one of the places that many people are optimistic on, not the U.S., is China. And with China being the world's most populous nation, with approaching now 1.5 billion people, many people are looking at Chinese markets, whether they be in technology, real estate, as the new growth markets. Do you agree with that?
Well, China is an interesting place. Actually, they're more capitalistic than the U.S. right now. That's kind of interesting. Steve Wynn from the Wynn Casinos, he said that they're considering moving their headquarters to Macau because he said the Chinese government is more dependable than Washington. So that's interesting. However, the huge stimulus that China has created for their economy last year in order to prevent a total meltdown was humongous. On a per capita basis, it was about 4 times greater than what the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury did in the U.S. So this was a huge amount of stimulus. It went into the banks, and the banks lent it to the real estate speculators. So the speculators drove real estate prices up to obscene levels, to levels that no one really can afford, or most people in China cannot afford.
Do you think the U.S. could paper over a Chinese real estate bubble burst?
No way. China has been the biggest financier of U.S. debt. And even China, if they would commit all of their reserves to buying U.S. debt, it wouldn't be sufficient to finance the U.S. debt. So now that they're going to have their own immense problems in China, they're not going to commit any more money to U.S. treasuries.
Bert Dohmen, founder of Dohmen Capital Research Institute. Bert, it's always a pleasure having you here on the show.
Are
Thank
you sure it's a pleasure? I'm sorry that the message is so gloomy, but this is reality, and we have to always deal with reality. Usually I'm a great optimist, but this time, I'm sorry, the facts are just not very optimistic.